All right, this is the Ironclad tier list. We're going to go through every single card, and then you'll be able to just put it directly into Untapped, and you'll have my tier list on Untapped there. Anger is a 0 cost, deal 6 damage, add a copy of this card into your discard pile. If it's upgraded, deal 8 damage. Just very solid. Just very solid, very good card. Like that's an attack you like early on. That's an attack you might even like later on in the game, to be completely honest. B for banger, exactly. Anger is just very solid in general. Armaments, gain 5 block, upgrade a card in your hand, or if it's upgraded, upgrade all cards in your hand. I think solidly goes in the B tier too. Armaments is not as good as a lot of people think. Armaments is a must upgrade if you do have it. I actually kind of disagree. Because a lot of times it depends on how big your deck is, right? It depends on how many upgrades you have. Because Armaments, when you upgrade it, you have to cycle through the entire deck in order to get back to all those cards that you've upgraded by playing it. I don't think that that's necessarily worth it if you have a big deck, obviously. It's also like not necessarily super important, because if you have an important upgrade, I feel like you'd rather actually just upgrade that card rather than try and upgrade a card that might upgrade it later on and then you cycle through the deck to get to it. That's not to say it's a bad upgrade, but it is just not, I don't think it's necessary. A lot of times you can get Armaments, you can just use it and upgrade one card in your hand and then play that card. Bash, 2 cost, you start with it, deals 8 damage, applies to vulnerable, or if it's upgraded, it deals 10 damage and applies 3 vulnerable. I would just, this is, you know, it's a starter card. It's fine for what it is, but you're just going to put it in D tier. Like it's not one of the better starter cards. It's just a starter card. Bloodwall, 2 cost skill, lose 2 HP, gain 16 block. If it's upgraded, gain 20 block. I actually love it. My first instinct is probably top of B tier, but honestly, I think I would put this in A tier. I'm gonna drop this into A tier. It's probably gonna end up at the bottom of A tier, but it's just really good. There's not a lot of really great block cards that you're getting with Ironclad, and so Bloodwall is really good. It also activates all those self-damage things. Generally speaking, I think like in terms of block cards, this is probably the best common block card on Ironclad, unless I'm forgetting something. I might be. Body Slam, deal damage equal to your block. If it's upgraded, it's a 0 cost card. It is normally a 1 cost card. C tier. Actually, I don't even know. Would I put this in D tier? Like, I know a lot of people get really hyped about Body Slam, or at least they used to. I don't think that it's great most of the time. You got to have like a very specific scenario. This kind of has to be upgraded. Definition of situational. Yes. And that's usually what I put the C tier cards in, is the situational tier. If you have like a crazy barricade build that's really good, and if you don't, it's useless, like completely useless. And even if you do have like a crazy block build, there's usually other ways that you can deal damage that are maybe a little better than Body Slam. That's why I think I would consider putting it at D tier. These rankings may change. I might swap them by the end. Right now, I'm comfortable putting Body Slam into C tier, but I am strongly considering putting it in D tier, honestly. Breakthrough, a 1 cost attack, lose 1 HP, deal 9 damage to all enemies. If it's upgraded, deal 13 damage to all enemies. I like Breakthrough for one reason. Breakthrough is really solid early game AoE. That is why I like Breakthrough. You kind of need to pick up an early game AoE card most of the time in runs for Act 1. And it's for that reason, Breakthrough is great. It also could trigger, again, the self-damage synergies. Yes, the upgrade is really good. I think Breakthrough is just solidly a B tier card. I don't think that it could get any higher. I think it's better than Body Slam for sure. And I think that that's the number one reason why I would pick up Breakthrough. Cinder, a 2-cost card, deal 18 damage, exhaust 1 card at random, and if it's upgraded, deal 24 damage, exhaust 1 card at random. I want Cinder to be good so bad. It deals a lot of damage, but it's just not very good. Exhausting is really fun in this game. It's really good in this game. Exhausting a random card, really not great. This is, I think I would put this in top of D tier probably. It just feels bad. Like if I was going to get a 2-cost card, these are completely opposite. But if I was going to get a 2-cost common card, I'd much rather have Blood Wall, which is blocking things and doing useful things. And Cinder is just randomly exhausting things. Cinder may be in an exhaust deck if you're desperate for exhaust. Yeah, if it was targeted, it'd be absolutely broken. But it being random is just not great. Defend, D tier. I don't know. Do I just put Defend in F tier? It's not a bad card, but it's obviously like you don't care about it. It's just a starter card. So you just keep it in D tier. It's fine. Maybe that'll move down to F later. Havoc, play the top card of your draw pile and exhaust it. And if it's upgraded, it becomes a 0-cost card. It's originally a 1-cost. Havoc in the right deck, amazing. Amazing. In the wrong deck, it's not very good. So we're going to put it in C tier. Havoc is like just extremely situational, I feel like. In late game, you can probably take Havoc a lot of the times, but in early game situations, you could like almost never take it. So once you're in Act 3, there's probably a lot more use cases for Havoc as opposed to like the first 2 acts where you basically almost can never take it. Headbutt, a 1-cost attack card, deal 9 damage, put a card from your discard pile on the top of your draw pile, and if it's upgraded, it deals 12 damage. This is fine. Like Headbutt is fine in the early game. I know a lot of people really love it. I think it's just a B tier card. In STS 1, it was probably an A tier card, but in STS 2, I don't know. It's like, it's not bad, but I find much less use for it than I did in the first game. Iron Wave, a 1-cost attack card that gains 5 block, deals 5 damage, and if it's upgraded, it gains 7 block, deals 7 damage. Kind of just bad. It's kind of just bad. I would put this at the top of D tier. It's a decent early game option when you're probably a little desperate for block and damage. It's fine. Like, it's not bad to pick up Ironclad like as one of your first like 2 or 3 card rewards, but generally speaking, like, you don't really want Iron Wave. There's better things. I could make an argument to put it in C tier, and that would be an okay argument. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's very useful outside of like the very early game. Molten Fist, a 1-cost attack card, deal 10 damage, double the enemy's vulnerable exhaust, and if you upgrade it, it is deal 14 damage. It's okay. Like, Molten Fist is okay. It's not bad. When you're doing like crazy things with vulnerable builds, it's awesome. But if you're not doing a lot of vulnerable stuff, like, I've taken Molten Fist as kind of a early game speculative pick, and it really was not worth it. It just wasn't really that good, and it never really became good. So like, Molten Fist in the absolute right situation with all the rest of the C tier cards, it's good, but outside of that, it's just not very good. Perfected Strike, deals 6 damage, deals 2 additional damage for all cards containing strike. And if you upgrade it, deals 3 additional damage for all cards containing strike. This is a great card early game, or if you get clone, I guess. Outside of that, Perfected Strike kind of mid. I think I'm going to put it in C tier. It's very, very good as an early game card when you need damage. That's the thing. Perfected Strike is really good early game when you actually need damage, and it's pretty bad late game. It falls off very quickly unless, again, you manage to be able to clone it. It was already upgraded, and then you can clone it like a billion times. Okay, Perfected Strike becomes insane in that situation. Yeah, outside of the first half of Act 1, it's generally unpickable. I agree with that. Pommel Strike, another strike card. Deal 9 damage, draw 1 card. If it's upgraded, deal 10 damage, draw 2 cards. Let me tell you something. This is our first S tier card. Easy S tier. Pommel Strike, amazing card. You should probably take it in every single run. Drawing is awesome. And especially if it's upgraded, drawing 2 is awesome. Yeah, it is very similar to Rocket Punch. And Rocket Punch, I would probably also put in S tier because draw is powerful. Draw is really, really good. And Pommel Strike is just that card. Pommel Strike is just that good. Setup Strike, deal 7 damage, gain 3 strength this turn. If it's upgraded, deal 9 damage, gain 4 strength this turn. Setup Strike, it's fine early game. It's kind of similar to Perfected Strike in the sense that like you don't want it in Act 2, like past Act 1. You know what? It's just like way worse than Perfected Strike. If I put Iron Wave down here, I'm putting Setup Strike down here. I'm putting Setup Strike down there. You could take it early on in Act 1. Get yourself some damage. It's not bad. Generally speaking, I don't really care for Setup Strike at all, personally. I just like very, very rarely take it. Shrug It Off though. Gain 8 block, draw 1 card. And if it's upgraded, gain 11 block, draw 1 card. Shrug, I'm going to drop that right in A tier, right next to Bloodwall. We talked about it. These are the 2 best common block cards. These might be the... Well, no, it's not the only common block cards. Look at this. Armaments exists. You know what? Now that I think about it, Armaments, I might drop that into C tier because you're not taking Armaments in like Act 2. You're not taking... Armaments is like an early game card. I would drop this at the top of C tier because Armaments, you're not taking past Act 1. Shrug It Off, you could take almost any time. It's very similar to Pommel Strike. If it drew 2 cards, it would be an S tier card. Actually, if it drew 2 cards, it would be a S+++ tier. It would be ridiculous. Strike, easy F tier. We have something in the F tier now, folks. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Sword Boomerang. A 1-cost attack card. Deal 3 damage to a random enemy 3 times. If it's upgraded, deal 3 damage to a random enemy 4 times. Sword Boomerang is really not that great. Sword Boomerang works with Setup Strike. It's kind of nice there. You know what? I'll put it in C tier. I'll put it in C tier. Ironclad has some bad common attack cards. Straight up. Like, he does not have great common attack cards. That's why it's a little bit of a struggle for Ironclad to really get going in Act 1. Sword Boomerang is fine. Like, it's not a bad thing to take, but it falls off really quickly because it's random. However, Ironclad's like common block cards are sick, like Taunt. 1 cost, gain 6 block, apply 1 vulnerable, or gain 7 block, apply 2 vulnerable if it's upgraded. Taunt is an A tier card in my opinion. I love Taunt. These 3 block cards are amazing. Like, Ironclad honestly has really great block cards. That's why I get really confused when people get mad at Ironclad and say that like Ironclad can't block, because Ironclad has some banger block cards. Bloodwall, Shrug It Off, Taunt. These are great block cards. They're all commons now. Taunt used to be uncommon. Now it's a common. There's also some good uncommon block cards for Ironclad as well. Yeah, True Grit is pretty good. True Grit we'll skip the next 2. We'll go to True Grit. True Grit's another common block card. Gains 7 block, exhausts 1 card at random, but if it's upgraded, it gains 9 block, and you get to choose what card gets exhausted. In upgraded True Grit, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. In unupgraded True Grit, it's okay. That's probably a C tier card. We're going to split the difference, drop it right into B tier. Okay? Because if it's upgraded, it's probably an A tier card. If it's not upgraded, it's probably a C tier card. But either way, True Grit is just good. Like, True Grit is just very solid. Even if you don't have it upgraded and it's early on and you need a block card, True Grit is going to be really, really solid. And it's great to grab when you need exhaust and you have an exhaust deck and you got it upgraded. Pretty much, if it's upgraded, I'm probably taking this almost every single time. Thunderclap, a 1-cost attack card. Deal 4 damage and apply 1 vulnerable to all enemies. If it's upgraded, deal 7 damage and apply 1 vulnerable to all enemies. C tier at best. Like, this is a much worse breakthrough in my opinion. You need AoE in the beginning. I talked about it, but like 4 damage AoE is so bad. It does synergize well if you're doing like vulnerable stuff, which is really good. But generally speaking, 4 damage across the board, it's just not. That's just not it. It's just not really that good, unfortunately. I think it's okay at best. I'm going to put it in C tier. I don't want to disrespect it and put it in D tier because there are a lot of things that you can do with vulnerable synergies and things like that. And you do want a little AoE early on, and you might have to rely on Thunderclap. But generally speaking, I don't know. There's an argument to be made that this goes in D tier as well. Tremble, a 1-cost skill. Apply 3 vulnerable, exhaust, and if it's upgraded, you apply 4 vulnerable. Solid A tier card. It's honestly solid A tier card. Card that you can almost put in any deck, to be honest. Like, this is a good card to pick up early on. You get some vulnerable. You're able to deal more damage to enemies. That's really, really good. You like it a lot in that situation. It's very possible for this to be teetering on S tier. I'll put it at the top of A tier. Now, I'm not really trying to rank the cards within the tiers, but some are just, you know, they're better. They just don't quite make the next tier. So we're going to point that out when it happens. You know what I mean? Tremble is really, really, really strong in terms of a common card. This is, to me, this is probably the best damage dealing common that Ironclad has. And it doesn't even deal any damage. Like, that's how strong it is. It's the same reason why Taunt is going to be an A tier. Vulnerable is super powerful, especially in this game with the way that things work. Twin Strike, a 1-cost attack card. This is our last common. Deal 5 damage twice. Deal 7 damage twice on the upgrade. Twin Strike, I think it's solidly a B tier card. This is an attack card that you're not mad about taking early on. It's going to synergize with a lot of strength and vulnerable things. It even synergizes with your perfected strikes if you love perfected strike and you got to take it every time. I understand. It's just really, really good. I'm willing to take this early on. You're not taking this late game, but it's good for an early game card. And that's kind of what these commons have been. Then we got the uncommons. We got Ashen Strike. Deals 6 damage, deals 3 additional damage for each card in your exhaust pile. Ashen Strike, easy A tier. Easy A tier. I'm not going to put it in S tier because there's a lot of really good S tier cards that we're going to come across. But Ashen Strike, very, very good. A lot of times if you get this early on and you focus on exhaust cards, you're probably going to really dominate with just this one card. This could be your entire source of damage in a sense. You can use Tremble that has exhaust built in. You can use things like True Grit to exhaust other cards. Ironclad loves exhausting, and Ashen Strike goes really, really hard. We got Battle Trance, a 0-cost, draw 3 cards. You cannot draw additional cards this turn. If it's upgraded, draw 4 cards. Battle Trance, easy S tier. Easy S tier card. Battle Trance is absolutely amazing. This is a card that you can literally put into every single Ironclad deck. You can even put a second one in there if your deck is big enough. Actually, if your deck is big enough, you could put a third, I guess. But most of the time, you want to have at least one Battle Trance in your decks. We next have Blaze, as you can see. I'm not going to rank co-op cards on here because I don't feel super confident in doing that. I don't have a ton of co-op experience, but what we will include is Bloodletting, a 0-cost skill card that recently got upgraded to an uncommon. Lose 3 HP, gain 2 energy, and if it's upgraded, you gain 3 energy. Bloodletting might be the best card in the game. I'm willing to say it. I'm going to go out there on a limb and say it could be the best card in the game. Is it really the best card in the game? No, not necessarily. It's certainly one of the best uncommons. It is absolutely easily at the top of S tier for Ironclad. This is a way for you to gain energy. If you haven't noticed, a lot of those common cards cost 2 energy to play, and you don't really love playing 2 energy cards when you don't have enough energy. And Bloodletting is going to give you that energy. It is absolutely amazing. I've heard arguments in the comment section a lot when I talk about Bloodletting that I'm wrong. And I'm here to tell you, I am not fucking wrong. Bloodletting is amazing. Amazing. It helps you trigger those self-damaged synergies as well, which is absolutely awesome. It allows you to play big cost cards at any point in time. Ironclad has a lot of 2 and 3 cost cards. You need energy. Bloodletting is the perfect way to gain energy for Ironclad. Here's a big cost card. It's a 3-cost attack card. It is Bludgeon. Deal 32 damage. If it's upgraded, deals 42 damage. This used to be a rare card in STS1. It's going in F tier. Bludgeon, I'm sorry. I used to at least like Bludgeon in STS1 somewhat, kind of, maybe, sort of, because it does a lot of early game damage. It's just really not that great in this game. It's fine for what it is, but we're dropping it into F tier. You could take it. It is not an untakeable card. Yes, it's F tier. It's better than F. I know. I kind of feel that way too. I think I actually want to put it in D tier, but I don't know what's going to end up in F tier. And I love Ironclad so much that I'm going to struggle to put cards in F tier. And I do feel like I need some cards in here. You know what? Fuck it. I will put it in D tier. I will put it in D tier because I do kind of like Bludgeon. Bludgeon is fine for the early game damage. It's great in the sense of early game damage. Aerodom mentioned it's good with Stampede. That is really true. It is very, very good with Stampede. So Bludgeon has its place in this game, but I do not think it's that great. I think it was better in STS1, oddly enough, even though I didn't think it was good in that game either. Bludgeon's very solid for early game damage, or if you specifically have Stampede. If our C tier cards are our situational cards, it's a little worse than that. It might even be at the top of D tier. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what's going to go in F tier because right now I can't think of any cards that are going to go in F tier. So that's why I wanted to put Bludgeon in F tier, because it is very hard to take outside of like the first 3 or 4 floors, unless this situation where you have Stampede, in which case it's very easy to take. So that is completely fair. And we just talked about Bloodletting. You're grabbing Bloodletting all the time. So Bloodletting is going to let you trigger Bludgeon a little more. So it's probably fine. By the end, it'll be an A. That's a possibility. You never know. You never know. Cinder. Yeah, Cinder might actually drop down to F. You know what? Let's do it now. Put Cinder in F tier. We'll drop that down there because I hate Cinder and I like Bludgeon. So then we got Bully, a 0-cost attack card. Deal 4 damage, deals 2 additional damage for each vulnerable on the enemy, and if it's upgraded, it deals 3 additional damage for each vulnerable on the enemy. If we put Ashen Strike into A tier, we could drop Bully right into A tier as well. Bully, really, really good. It's essentially Ashen Strike for less that is for vulnerable enemies. We already talked about how strong Ashen Strike is. You get an early Ashen Strike, and if you focus enough on it, you're going to be able to deal a ton of damage because of the exhaust, and you're going to focus on building your deck around exhaust cards. Bully, same thing. You're going to be able to deal a ton of damage and build that deck around vulnerable cards. So Bully, I really, really like. It helps you gain a direction for your deck, and it helps you move in the correct direction in terms of that. Then we got Burning Pact, a 1-cost skill. Exhaust 1 card, draw 2 cards, and if it's upgraded, draw 3 cards. Guess what? Guess what? Burning Pact, it's another S tier card, folks. It is another S tier card. Drawing cards is king in Slay the Spire. Like, drawing cards is what you really want to do. And you also really want to be exhausting cards. Burning Pact is targeted exhaust, which is great, which is going to trigger things like Ashen Strike. And it's going to allow you to set off Feel No Pain and gain block that way. Burning Pact is a big driver in how you can make exhaust work in your deck. And it's also going to draw you cards. I love Burning Pact. I have nothing but love for this card since the very first game. So I am all about that. And then we got Colossus. Gain 4 block. You receive 50% less damage from vulnerable enemies this turn. If it's upgraded, it's gain 7 block. Colossus, S tier card. Absolute S tier card. Colossus is fantastic. You are most likely going to have vulnerable in your deck as Ironclad. And if you can receive 50% less damage from vulnerable enemies, this is going to be an insane block engine for you, especially if you could keep drawing into it. If you have a couple of them in your deck, to me, it's crazy that they moved this from being a rare card to an uncommon card, because when this was a rare, I was dying to run into this all the time. And then all of a sudden they decided to move it down to uncommon because I think that people were sleeping on this card a lot. Now, I don't think people sleep on it anymore because it's an uncommon, but it is an absolutely broken card. Like, it is stupid good. It is unbelievable. And if you are not utilizing Colossus, if I see a Colossus, I will grab a Colossus and then make sure that I grab vulnerable stuff, not to deal more damage, but to block more. That's how strong Colossus is. Cruelty, a power card, a 1-cost power card. Vulnerable enemies take an additional 25% damage. If it's upgraded, an additional 50% damage. Solidly in the B tier. I was thinking about putting in A tier, but honestly, B tier is more for like your sort of situational cards that are going to be more commonly used. Like, these are going to be your better situational cards, right? C is those situational cards that are like super niche, and B is your sort of like, if you have some vulnerable, Cruelty is a great thing to grab. This is an amazing card in a vulnerable deck. It definitely teeters on A tier for me, especially now since it's an uncommon. It used to be a rare when the game first came out. It was a rare card, but they did move it down, which I think is fair, because when it was a rare card, it was like harder to take. It wasn't like Colossus. Colossus you could take in any situation and then go for vulnerable cards. Whereas Cruelty, it's like, I could take this and hope that I run into vulnerable cards. Is like kind of awkward. It's kind of weird, but I think Cruelty solidly B tier. We got Dismantle next, a 1-cost attack card, deal 8 damage. If the enemy is vulnerable, it hits twice. And then if it's upgraded, it deals 10 damage. Dismantle is fine. Like, I think Dismantle is just B tier at best. I don't even know if it's B tier, to be completely honest, because it's like at the bottom of B tier, I think. Even if I have vulnerable, I'm not using this too much. Actually, no. If I do have vulnerable, I am going to grab this. So yeah, I think Dismantle is solidly in the B tier. It's a little better than your like niche situational cards, especially since for vulnerable, you're going to have a decent amount of it in Ironclad. Even if that's not your main focus, you're going to have some sort of vulnerable, right? Like, that's what a lot of cards do for Ironclad. And Dismantle is just kind of solidly in the middle there. Drum of Battle, draw 2 cards. When this card is exhausted, gain 2 energy. And if it's upgraded, gain 3 energy. Drum of Battle, very versatile, very nice. I'm going to put this into B tier. This is a solid card. I like the changes that they made to it. When it was a 0-cost power card, it was kind of awful. It was terrible. It was terrible. But nowadays, the change is really, really solid. I think that when you have things that exhaust, this is amazing. It is sort of situational. The problem with it is that you only draw 2 cards, as opposed to something like Burning Pact, where you get to choose what you're exhausting, and then you're drawing 2, but you can upgrade it and you can draw 3, which makes it really powerful. This one, you have to either choose draw or energy if you have exhaust. So it gets a little weird sometimes because you usually want draw to use that energy. But in the situations where you do have an exhaust heavy deck, it does work out pretty well. It is nice. Evil Eye, a 1-cost skill card. Gain 8 block. Gain another 8 block if you have exhausted a card this turn. And if it's upgraded, gain 11 block. Gain another 11 block if you've exhausted a card this turn. Awesome card. This is a really good card. I'm going to put it solidly in B tier. When you have exhaust stuff going, Evil Eye is great. The cool part about Evil Eye is that you can actually just take it early game, even if you don't have exhaust going. And even if you don't know if you're going to go in the direction of exhaust, because 8 block is just solid for 1 cost. It's solid. You can take this in the early game, and then you can, if you end up putting exhaust stuff in your deck, well, that's an added benefit to Evil Eye. It's going to actually be really strong. It's going to actually be really good. And you're going to be able to do nice things with it and gain a shit ton of block if you do have exhaust stuff going. So it's one of those cards, even if you don't end up with a lot of exhaust, you're okay with having it because it's just decent block for 1 cost. Now is kind of a weird time. I have to come in as an editor to talk about 3 Ironclad cards that got changed on the last beta patch. When I first recorded this, it was on the previous beta patch. So I am going to change what I talk about when I talk about these cards. I will be leaving the untapped tier list link to the description below so that you can easily just see any changes that I make during each beta patch. So I'm not going to continuously update the videos every single beta patch. That would be ridiculous. But what I like about Untapped is that I can continuously update the same list every time a beta patch comes out and maybe move things around so that you have a more accurate way of assessing whether or not these cards are A tier, S tier, B tier, you know, etc. So you can also plug these tier lists directly into the Untapped overlay. So I will also have a link in the description below to the Untapped overlay, which, by the way, will help out the stream and the videos and everything. If you click that link and download it from there, it is completely free to download, no cost for you, but it will help you by giving you cool stats about each card as you go through the acts, as you go through the game, and it'll be a nice simple overlay that doesn't kind of ruin your experience with the game. But the first card we're going to talk about is Expect a Fight. And Expect a Fight was a pretty bad card. And now it has turned into an okay card. The recent beta patch gave it a gain 15 block, gains 5 additional block for each strength that you have. And it went from a 2-cost card to a 3-cost card. And if it's upgraded, you gain 16 block and gain 8 additional block for each strength you have. This is actually a pretty good card. I had used it a few times once the beta patch changed over. I think it's actually very good. I think that it's significantly better than what it was. The only problem is I would still consider this a C tier card because it's kind of niche. It's very expensive. It is a really good way for you to gain block. specifically if you have some sort of strength build. If you're doing something with Dominate, where every vulnerable is going to give you X amount of strength, or if you have like an Inflame, this does make Inflame a lot better, which is great because Inflame is like not super good. But Expect a Fight is actually much better than I thought it would be. I thought this would be very, very bad. So I would consider this a C tier card. Now, I believe on the original tier list, I did put it in C tier, but you can kind of maybe a little bit ignore where it is on the list because, again, I recorded it before and now we're reassessing the cards here. And we're going to talk about the other two cards that got upgraded. We got Forgotten Ritual. If you exhausted a card this turn, gain 3 energy exhaust. That was the original text, but now it's changed and become way, way better. It is now just gain 3 energy exhaust. So you don't need to exhaust a card in order to gain the energy. That makes it way, way better. And if it's upgraded, you gain 4 energy. Forgotten Ritual becomes a card that you can kind of fit into more decks. Ironclad is very energy hungry. You don't necessarily have to only rely on Bloodletting. I'm not sure if they're going to keep this the way that it is in the game. I guess they might because it exhausts and it costs 1, but Bloodletting is better. Bloodletting is still better than this. This is still very, very useful. I think this is going to be solidly a B tier card. I've been enjoying using it in Ironclad decks since they had the beta patch and made the changes. So Forgotten Ritual, pretty good card. I would keep it in B tier after this. And then the last card that they updated, buffed, is Rampage. Rampage went from deal 9 damage, increase this card's damage by 5 this combat, to deal 10 damage, increase this card's damage by 5. And if it's upgraded, it's increases card's damage by 10. Rampage still sucks. Rampage, I believe, was an F tier card on this list, and now it's going to stay as an F tier card. This increase is fine, but it's hard to play Rampage consistently. This is good for early game damage in the very beginning of Act 1, and that's about where it ends up. You're never really finding a way to make Rampage go absolutely crazy on Ironclad. There's a decent amount of draw on Clad, but there's just so much better, more viable options than just using a Rampage. Having to like recycle the deck and draw back into it, you can occasionally make it work if you're doing like exhaust things, but there's better exhaust cards that will count as attacks, and you probably don't really ever need Rampage. This is like a card that I tried desperately not to take unless I've been offered absolutely no other attacks in like the first 2 or 3 Act 1 fights. So that is the quick rundown of the cards that changed, and I will possibly, before I post the video, be rearranging the tier list a little bit, because as I'm editing this, I don't feel super great about a couple of the rankings. I had intended to go back at the end and move things around a little bit. You know, some cards would drop a tier, some cards would go up a tier, but I'll end the video with a picture of the full tier list the way that it should be. Thank you so much for watching, and if you've gotten this far and you've been enjoying it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Feel no pain. When a card is exhausted, gain 3 block, and if it's upgraded, you're gaining 4 block. This is one of the best powers in the game. S tier. I don't care. Feel no pain, still S tier. When you have an Ironclad deck, you are probably exhausting a lot. Even if you don't do things like, you know, direct exhausting, you're going to have cards like Tremble in your hand, in your deck. You're going to exhaust that Tremble. But you're going to have ways to exhaust cards. You're going to have colorless cards that exhaust. You're going to probably have a Burning Pact in your hand, in your deck, because like we said, Burning Pact can fit into any deck. So that's just extra block. There's a lot of ways to exhaust things. I still feel like Feel No Pain is one of the best powers in the game. It's just like one of those things where maybe if you're not super focused on exhaust, you could skip it. But even an early game Feel No Pain is still really nice, because then you know how you want to build your deck around it. Feel No Pain is just an unbelievable block engine and is just incredibly strong. Fight Me is next. A 2-cost attack card. Deal 5 damage twice. Gain 3 strength. The enemy gains 1 strength. Or deal 6 damage twice and gain 4 strength on the upgrade. I know there's a lot of people that love Fight Me. Fight Me is decent in the right situation. I am going to drop this right into C tier. I think C tier is fine. I can see if you think that it's better, if you think that it's worse. I think very situationally it is good. So we're going to put it into C tier, like the bottom of C tier. I don't know if by the end of this, I'm going to move it down to D tier, to be honest. Like there's a chance. I don't really love Fight Me. There's too many enemies with multi-hits in the game where giving them an extra strength is very painful for you. The more I think about it, the more I want to drop Fight Me into D tier. I know there's people that love Fight Me, and I can completely understand. I can completely respect it. I just think that it's harder to make work really well in this game than most people give it credit for. I think in the absolute right situations, Fight Me is good. I think those situations are few and far between when you're playing. Flame Barrier, 2-cost skill card. Gain 12 block whenever you are attacked this turn. Deal 4 damage back. And if it's upgraded, gain 16 block. Whenever you're attacked this turn, deal 6 damage back. Flame Barrier, very good card. I'm dropping this right into B tier. Very solid block card. I do not think that it's as good as these block cards right here, but it is very good. Like you can get away with getting a Flame Barrier in almost any deck. It's not super helpful in every deck, but it's not bad. Like if you need a block card, Flame Barrier is wonderful. But I would just prefer these block cards. Taunt, Shrug It Off, Blood Wall, those are awesome. Flame Barrier is also pretty awesome. Like Flame Barrier would probably be closer to the top of B tier. Hemokinesis, a 1-cost attack card, lose 2 HP, deal 15 damage. If it's upgraded, deal 20 damage. Hemokinesis, solid B tier card for me. This is a great card for you to start early in Act 1 when you need damage. This is a great card to trigger your self-damage synergies, which we're going to start to get into very soon because we haven't seen a lot of those cards, but we are coming up on one little sneak peek right here. Hemokinesis is very strong damage, and all you're doing is dealing 2 damage to yourself, and you're dealing 15 or 20 on the upgrade. That is so strong. This is a card that will help carry you through Act 1 almost by itself because it deals so much damage. You're probably not taking it late game. It's not doing that much, but it is doing a ton in the early game. Howl from Beyond, a 3-cost attack card. Deal 18 damage to all enemies at the end of your turn. If this is in your exhaust pile, play it. And if it's upgraded, it deals 24 damage. Like Howl from Beyond is going into the D tier, possibly even in F tier. Like Howl from Beyond is very awkward. If you have a ton of exhaust things that you're doing, it's fine, but you're still like much happier with an Ashen Strike than you are with Howl from Beyond. Something that you only do in the nichest of niche situations. Infernal Blade, a 1-cost skill card. Add a random attack into your hand. It's free to play this turn, exhaust, and if it's upgraded, it is a 0-cost card. It's decent. it is a way for you to potentially generate a really, really strong attack card. It's also potentially a way for you to generate a really shitty attack card. So kind of scary in that situation. I'm going to put it in D tier. We're going to put it in D tier. At the top of D tier. I think it's good in the early game. I think you could take it in the early game and you're not really upset about it. But similar to like Setup Strike, Iron Wave, you're not taking these later. You're not taking these in the late game. Unless you are absolutely desperate for damage, then maybe you take a late game Infernal Blade. But if that's the case, you're probably going to lose anyway. Like the run's probably over anyway. So I can't really imagine a great time to take it unless it's like one of your first card rewards in the beginning. Inferno. At the start of your turn, lose 1 HP. Whenever you lose HP on your turn, deal 6 damage to all enemies. And if it's upgraded, deal 9 damage to all enemies. Inferno, awesome. Inferno's getting dropped into A tier. That is amazing. Inferno's unbelievable. You want to be real careful with it, obviously. Especially taking multiples of it. You can take like 2 of them as long as you have a ton of max HP, as long as you know what you're doing. It's fine to take 2. You probably don't really want to take 3 or more of these, but Inferno is amazing. This is basically the most important self-damage synergy card that we talked about. Like we talked a lot about self-damage synergies and stuff. Inferno is what makes all of those go. Inferno makes things go absolutely ballistic. If you're damaging yourself, it is so strong. It is a lot of AoE damage. It is a ton of just good stuff that happens when you have Inferno going. It literally carries your entire Act 1. Like genuinely carries your entire Act 1. You don't even necessarily need other self-damage cards. You can just have Inferno in general for like the entire run, and it's still going to deal so much damage. It being a power card, it being a 1 cost, it's really, really strong. Insanely strong. Inferno is so peak, exactly. Inflame, a 1 cost power card, gain 2 strength. If it's upgraded, gain 3 strength. This used to be an awesome card. Now, in this game, it is not super great. I don't know. I'm going to put this in D tier. I'm going to put Inflame in D tier. I think it's solid-ish, but it's going to go in D tier. And we're going to put Howl from Beyond in F tier. We're actually just going to drop that into F tier. We're going to keep things a little better. No, you're absolutely right. Clad does not have as many strength payoffs as he should. I agree completely. I think they're changing that a little. I think they're starting to give Clad a little bit more strength payoffs. The biggest issue for Inflame was that Dominate was an uncommon card and gave you way more strength, way more quickly. Honestly, let's put Inflame in C tier for now. I might move it down later. But Inflame is better now that Dominate is a rare card. So it's a little better for you to gain strength. But I agree, there's not as many payoffs. Juggling, the 1 cost power card, add a copy of the 3rd attack you play each turn into your hand. And if it's upgraded, it's innate. It's going to go in C tier because in those extremely niche situations where this works out, it's really strong. But in most situations, it is not really that good. Problem is, all right, we're dropping it to D tier. The more I think about it, it's so niche that it has to go in D tier. It's so niche that it has to go in D tier. In those situations where it works out, it is absolutely phenomenal. But in like 98% of situations, you don't really care for it. You don't really want it. It's not that good. But in those situations where it is crazy, it is super crazy. Pillage, deal 6 damage, draw cards until you draw a non-attack card. If it's upgraded, deal 9 damage. Pillage, kind of awesome. Pillage is honestly like very solid. Do I want to put it in A tier? I think this is a card that you could pick up in most decks because who doesn't love draw? And being able to draw until you draw a non-attack card. If you have a ton of attacks, like you can keep doing this with Pillage. You can keep going crazy. Pillage is just solid, a solid way to draw. deals an okay amount of damage. I think A tier is fine for this. Maybe B tier is better. I'm on the fence about it. I would say low A tier, maybe high B tier. It's something to really consider, but I value draw tremendously, as I'm sure you've realized. And I think that this is an excellent way for you to draw, because it could be you're drawing like 6 cards, or it could be you're drawing 1 card. Either way, Pillage is very, very solid. Rage, whenever you play an attack this turn, gain 3 block. And if it's upgraded, gain 5 block. Rage is going to go solidly in C tier. Maybe top of C tier, bottom of B tier. In the right situations, this card goes crazy. In the situations where you have a lot of attacks, a lot of cheap attacks, Rage is going to go nuts. When you have not a lot of block, Rage can block for a lot. But you got to have the right situation. It's a little tough. Yeah, a lot of energy or 0 cost cards, exactly. Rupture, a 1 cost power card. Whenever you lose HP on your turn, gain 1 strength. If it's upgraded, gain 2 strength. Rupture, solid B tier card. Very, very solid B tier card. I wouldn't say it's necessarily A tier, but it's pretty damn close up there. Losing HP is a thing that you're going to do a lot on your turn if you have self-damage stuff. If you pair up Rupture and Inferno together, broken combo. Absolutely broken combo. If you just have Rupture and like a Breakthrough and a Blood Wall, that's just giving you a lot of strength. It's really good. This is why I said Inflame is not necessarily that good. You have cards like Dominate that give you a lot more strength very quickly. You got things like Rupture that you can make give you a lot more strength very quickly. Inflame is just not really that special, whereas Rupture can continuously give you HP, give you strength, which is amazing. We got Second Wind. Exhaust all non-attack cards in your hand. Gain 5 block for each card exhausted. If it's upgraded, gain 7 block for each card exhausted. S tier. Simple as that. Second Wind, an insane block engine, especially when paired up with the other S tier card, Feel No Pain. Second Wind goes absolutely ballistic. Solves your block issues. Solves your deck issues by exhausting cards that you don't need. Second Wind just goes really crazy. There's a lot of cards that it works really well with. Things like Forgotten Ritual. Things like Drama Battle. This is Second Wind is awesome. Just an absolutely amazing way for you to block. Spite, 0 cost card, deal 5 damage. If you lost HP this turn, hits 3 times. Spite's just a C tier card. It's not bad. Like if it's upgraded, it's dealing 15 damage for 0 cost. That's really nice. But if you're doing stuff like that, Spite, you have other ways of dealing damage that are better. Like if you're self-damaging, just Inferno is dealing way more damage to all the enemies. It is a 1 cost card, but it's a power card, so you only play it 1 time, and then it's wiping out enemies left and right. Spite is fine for what it is, but it's just really not that good. Stampede, 2 cost power card. At the end of your turn, 1 random card, 1 random attack in your hand is played against an enemy, a random enemy. And if it's upgraded, it is a 1 cost card. So we'll put it into B tier. The problem is you got to have it upgraded right away, because if it's a 2 cost card, most of the time you're not going to be able to play it, really, to be completely honest. In general, it's really nice to be able to play it for 1 cost if it's upgraded, and to have free attacks be played at the end of every single turn. It's definitely good in the situation where you have, like we talked about earlier, something like Bludgeon. You know, if you took an early game Bludgeon, where the hell is Bludgeon? If you took an early game Bludgeon and you don't play it anymore, well, now all of a sudden Stampede is really good. Stampede is good. I like Stampede. I'll put it in the B tier. I like it a lot. Stomp, 3 cost attack card, deal 12 damage to all enemies, cost 1 less for each attack played this turn. And if it's upgraded, it deals 15 to all enemies. This is solid. This is like good. somewhere in the middle of C tier. It's decent. It's not amazing. It's more of like an early game thing that you want to use. I don't know. I think Stomp is solidly in C tier. It's a good early game card if you have a lot of attacks. If you've got something like a couple spites in your deck, well, that's going to make the cost of Stomp cheaper. You get anger, and it's not too bad. You know what I mean? Like you have something like anger, you're playing a lot of attacks, Stomp becomes way better. We're putting Stomp in D tier. Stomp is D tier. It's the more I talk about it, the more I just go like, do I really even take this that often? Not really. Like if I said Bludgeon was D tier, how is Stomp better than Bludgeon? It's just really not. So yeah, if you're desperate for AoE, yeah, it's fine in that situation if you're desperate for it. But I think it's a D tier card. Stone Armor, the 1 cost power card, gain 4 plating. If it's upgraded, gain 6 plating. Stone Armor is really interesting. I like it a lot. I think it gets slept on a lot. If you have multiple Stone Armors, if you have like 2 Stone Armors and a like Gorget, broken. It is absolutely broken. Stone Armor gives you block for like the rest of the entire fight. In that situation, plating is really, really strong. Plating is something that people sleep on a lot in this game for some reason. Yeah, if you have replay on it, that's a good call out. Stone Armor is amazing. I'm dropping it into B tier. I'm going to drop it at the top of B tier, somewhere around here. Probably in my top 3 B tier cards. It's just very, very good. It's just very, 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 very solid. You're not really too upset about Stone Armor. Do you have to take it every time? Not necessarily. If it's upgraded, kind of. Like I would kind of take it out every time if it was upgraded. But if it's not upgraded, you don't necessarily have to. But I do think that it's way stronger than people give it credit for. Unrelenting, a 2 cost attack card, deal 14 damage. The next attack you play costs 0. And if it's upgraded, it deals 20 damage. They recently upgraded all these like cards that make the next X thing that you play cost 0. I would put this in D tier. You're probably not like super excited about using this and making your attacks cost 0. You're happier about it if it's make your powers cost 0, like the what is that? Defect has that one, right? That's fine. But you're not, I don't know. I don't really like Unrelenting. I don't think you really care about making your attacks cost 0. Wouldn't you rather just use Stampede? It's just like the same thing. Yeah, Synthesis. That's right. Thank you. Uppercut, a 2 cost attack card, 13 damage, apply 1 weak, 1 vulnerable. If it's upgraded, 2 weak, 2 vulnerable. A tier. This is the only card that Ironclad has that applies weak. It is the only card that applies weak that automatically makes it really, really strong. And just in general, 13 damage, really good. This is great in the early game. This is usually still great in the late game. You are getting a chance to apply both vulnerable and weak, which is something that you want to apply constantly as Ironclad. Vicious, whenever you apply vulnerable, draw 1 card, and if it's upgraded, draw 2 cards. I really like Vicious. I really want it to be better. I do find that it is harder to get off than other ways of drawing. Like, because it's a power, you have to draw it in the right order. So you have to draw it before you draw your vulnerable stuff. If you have like 2 Trembles in your deck and that's how you get vulnerable on enemies, well, those cards are exhausting. So it's not like you can draw back into them and then like have them again so that Vicious goes off again. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm like really explaining that right, but even if you cycle through the deck, those Trembles are gone. You play those Trembles in the beginning. You play one Tremble on turn 1. Well, that Tremble is gone. Now you have one other Tremble in the deck. And then you play Vicious, and then you play one Tremble, and then it's only drawing you one card. Like, Vicious, in theory, is better than it actually is. There are better draw cards for Ironclad. I would put it into B tier. I would probably put it in the bottom of B tier. Our last uncommon, it is Whirlwind, an X attack card. Deal 5 damage to all enemies X times. If it's upgraded, deal 8 damage to all enemies X times. This is just C tier. Whirlwind is good for what it is. If you have a lot of energy, it's awesome. If you are trying to get through like Act 1 quickly, it's fine. Like, I would say this is just solidly in the C tier. I don't think it's particularly amazing. It's just decent AoE that will help you if you have the right situation. You got a Chemical X. It's awesome. It's not bad. It's just not generally going to be your main source of damage. And now we get into the rare cards. We've got Aggression, a power card. At the start of your turn, put a random attack card from your discard pile into your hand and upgrade it. And if it's upgraded, it's innate. This is fine. Like, it's not that amazing. If you have a lot of attacks, it's good. I would put this into C tier as well. Like, it's okay. It's decent. It sounds better than it actually is. I feel like Aerodon pointed out that it will draw it essentially is a card draw every time. I still would only probably put it into C tier. Like, at best, B tier. Barricade's a 3-cost power card. Block is not removed at the start of your turn. And if it's upgraded, it is a 2-cost power card. Barricade's a solid B tier card. I feel like it was an A tier card in STS 1. I feel like it's harder to really work with in STS 2, but it's still very, very strong in those situations where it works. I would say it's closer to the top of B tier, probably borders on A tier. I can't move it up there for some reason, but just in your mind, just think of it as better than these things. Why is it not going anywhere? Crazy. Not removing your block is great. It costs a lot of energy though. So if you had a way to make sure that you get this out when you have it, it's going to be very valuable. Barricade's one of my favorite cards to get on other characters. Yes, agreed. Barricade, insanely good on Necrobinder, insanely good on Silent, insanely good on Defect, and just very good on Ironclad. It's not as good on Ironclad as those other ones. Sometimes it's harder to play, and sometimes you don't have the right deck for it. So I would just say it's like solidly in B tier. Brand is a 0-cost skill card. Lose 1 HP, exhaust 1 card, gain 1 strength. If it's upgraded, you're gaining 2 strength. Brand really teeters on A tier for me. Brand is like the ultimate Ironclad card. You're gaining strength, you're losing HP, you're exhausting a card. That is the ultimate Ironclad package. The exhaust synergies are great. The strength is great. The self-damage synergies are great. Brand is just very, very good. Though I do think that it's going to be more at the top of B tier. I think it's going to be around like Flame Barrier territory and Rupture. I think these are like kind of the best B tier cards we've seen. I do really like it, but I do also think that it's not necessary for every single deck. So I think Brand being in B tier is very good. Right in the middle, it is the ultimate Ironclad card, right? So B tier being like kind of in the middle, it's perfect. Then we got Cascade. An X cost skill card. Play the top X cards of your draw pile. Then if you upgrade it, play the top X plus 1 cards of your draw pile. Cascade is phenomenal. Cascade is unreal. I want to put it in S tier. I won't put it in S tier. I will put it in A tier because I know that I'm going to catch a lot of shit if I put it in S tier because people are going to go, oh, it's not that good. Oh, this and that, whatever. It's really good. And it's really dangerous. To be honest, in an Ironclad deck, it could be very dangerous with all the self-damage stuff. And it's awesome. It is well worth the risk, well worth the fun. It is one of the most fun Ironclad cards you could play. It might be my favorite Ironclad card to play. I know I said that about something else earlier, but this is definitely up there among like my top 3 favorites. It is super, super good, super, super fun. It is a card I'm taking like every single time I see it. I don't care, because you're going to have a lot of Ironclad cards that cost a lot of energy, and this is going to play them for essentially free. It's going to play a bunch of cards. It's going to just deal a lot of damage, block a lot, play your powers for you. It's going to do so much. Think about all the 2 and 3 cost cards that we have. Cascade is just insanely good. I'm putting Cascade in S tier. I don't care. I'm sitting here talking about it, and I'm putting it in there because it is just that good. It is a card that you could pick in just about every single deck. I honestly think that you can just take it in every single deck and feel okay about it. And it allows you to also take more expensive cards that you otherwise wouldn't be able to take because you just couldn't afford to play them because you don't have enough energy. It is a way to get around energy issues, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe it's a hot take that Cascade is an S tier, but I love it too much. Conflagration, a 1-cost attack card. Deal 2 damage to all enemies 4 times. Deal 2 damage to all enemies 5 times if it's upgraded. Conflagration, very solid. This is a very solid card. I'm going to put this right into B tier. I don't think it belongs in A tier. I don't think it's better than like a lot of these like top tier B tier cards. But I do think it's really, really good. It's one of those things that works well with strength. One of the few things that works really well with strength for Ironclad. So I think it's very, very good. It's very weak if you don't have those strength things. If you don't have vulnerable and stuff like that, it can be very weak, but it's a nice way to gain AoE. Do I think that it should be a rare card? No. I think it can afford to be an uncommon. However, I could see that being a problem. Maybe it becomes like way too good if it's an uncommon. I think it's a little kind of iffy situation, and I'm glad I'm not a game developer. I don't have to make that decision. Crimson Mantle, a 1-cost power card that at the start of your turn, lose 1 HP and gain 7 block. If it's upgraded, gain 10 block. Crimson Mantle, A tier. Easy A tier card. Awesome card. Just really, really good. Really, really nice way for you to gain block. It's a really, really nice way for you to trigger something like Inferno. It's something that is going to do a lot to synergize with your self-damage stuff. And it's just very, very good. And a nice way for you to gain block where people complain about the block that Ironclad provides. And that is a good way to get it. Dark Embrace. Whenever a card is exhausted, draw 1 card. It is a 2-cost power card. And if it's upgraded, it upgrades to a 1-cost. Dark Embrace, going into S tier. It's going into S tier. It's really, really good. A really nice way for you to be drawing cards. It is really, really good if you have something like Second Wind and you exhaust all your non-attack cards and all of a sudden you draw into another, like, say, 4 cards right off the bat, and then you Burning Pact away another card, which gives you another X amount of cards between the Burning Pact, or another 2 draw cards plus the exhausted card. Being able to draw every time you exhaust a card is amazing. Amazing. And it's also making me rethink my position on Cascade because, again, could be really scary when you exhaust all your cards. Cascade makes it a little dangerous, so we'll go back to putting Cascade in A tier. I love Cascade, but I can't let my love for that card outshine the fact that it has its flaws and it should be moved to the top of A tier instead of S tier, so that a card like Dark Embrace could easily fit into S tier and not make it weird, because Dark Embrace definitely fits here, whereas Cascade maybe doesn't. But I still think Cascade is amazing. Demon Form, potentially another hot take. Demon Form, a 3-cost power card. At the start of your turn, gain 3 strength. And if it's upgraded, gain 4 strength. Demon Form is just a D tier card. It's really not that good. If you have something like Cascade, it's amazing, because then you might be able to play it for free or for 1 energy, I guess, in that situation. It's definitely nice in that situation, but it's not really that good in general because it's really hard to play Demon Form. Like, Demon Form is really, really strong at some point in time, but you got to get to that point, right? If you play Demon Form on turn, let's say you draw it on turn 3. Now you have to play all 3 of your energy on Demon Form, and then you have to watch it build up slowly over time. You don't gain the first 3 strength right away. It happens on the next turn, and you need to make sure that you have enough energy. D is crazy. It's not. Demon Form is not that good. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. Demon Form is not that good. You can maybe make an argument for bottom of C tier, but I don't. Demon Form is just, it's probably the most overrated card in the entire game. D for Demon Form. Exactly, Felk. Exactly. There are so many better ways to gain strength that don't take a massive amount of energy. And we're going to talk about one of them right here. Dominate. Easy S tier. Easy S tier. Dominate, apply 1 vulnerable, gain 1 strength for each vulnerable on the enemy exhaust. And if it's upgraded, apply 2 vulnerable. I will take Dominate 1 billion times over Demon Form. Demon Form is just like one of those things where you basically have to play it and take a shit ton of damage on that turn that you play it, and then hope that it could build up fast enough. Dominate is insane because you immediately, even if you have no other vulnerable, even if it's not upgraded, you gain 1 strength just due to this card. If you have any other vulnerable cards, which, by the way, Ironclad starts with a vulnerable card, Bash. So no matter what, you're going to have something else that gives you vulnerable. Dominate suddenly becomes insane, and it spirals out of control really quickly. Dominate is what can make Molten Fist this C tier card. The reason we put Molten Fist into C tier is specifically because Dominate exists. Because if you play a bunch of vulnerable stuff, then double it, then Dominate. Now you have to have the best card draw order ever, of course. But in that situation, you're suddenly going to have like 15 fucking 20 strength. You're winning. You are literally dominating, which is what it says on the card. Dominate is unreal. Feed, a 1-cost attack card, deal 10 damage. If fatal, raise your max HP by 3 exhaust. And if it's upgraded, deal 12 damage. If fatal, raise your max HP by 4. Feed is sad. Feed is sad. Feed was awesome in Slay the Spire 1. It is so much harder to get off in this game. It is very, very strong if you can consistently get it to go off. I think I'm just gonna put it in B tier. So hard to prolong a fight in this game so that you draw into your feed and get it on the perfect turn so that you can absolutely end the fight. A lot of times I take feed and it just kind of exists there and you're not able to get it off because it's just not that good. If you get feed early, it sounds like it's really good, and it usually is. It is so much harder to prolong fights in this game than it was in the first one. Feed was like an A tier card, easily an A tier card bordering on S. And in this game, it is, I would say it's like a C tier card it's a B tier card that borders on C. If you have a ton of block, this is perfectly fine to take at like the beginning of Act 3, where even if it only raises your HP by like 20, it's still raising it by 20. It's too hard to say feed is lower than B, but it is harder to get off in this game than it was in Slay the Spire 1. We can at least say that. Fiend Fire, 2-cost card, exhaust your hand. Deal 10 damage for each card exhausted. Exhaust. Fiend Fire is amazing. I'm going to put it at the top of A tier. We're going to put Fiend Fire in the top of A tier. It is an absolute machine of a card. It clears out the garbage cards that you don't want from your deck, and it deals a boatload of damage at the same time. If you get an early Fiend Fire, this is carrying you through Act 1. This is carrying you through most of Act 2. Fiend Fire is really, really good. It borders on S tier. It borders on S tier, to be completely honest. I'm trying to be really realistic with my rankings, so I'm going to keep Fiend Fire at the top of A tier. Real close. It's like Cascade. It's real close for me. Hellraiser, a 2-cost power card. Whenever you draw a card containing strike, it is played against a random enemy. If it's upgraded, 1 cost. Whenever you draw a card containing strike, it played. I just read that. What am I doing? Hellraiser. It's not that good. It's fine for what it is. It's super niche. I would put it in C tier. The C tier cards are like the very niche cards. You need like the right deck. You need the right situation. When it works, Hellraiser is awesome. When it works, Hellraiser is absolutely incredible. The problem is, like, it's hard to like really make it super worthwhile. If you somehow have 2 Pommel Strikes and you're exhausting everything and you're just going crazy, Hellraiser, amazing. The issue is most of the time you're trying to get rid of your strikes. Most of the time you're not going that crazy with it. It's just very niche. And C tier is those niche cards that are great in the right situations, but otherwise they're just not that good. Like Hellraiser is not something that I want to take after Act 1 if I don't have like some sort of perfected strike thing going. And I'm not trying to build some crazy perfected strike deck. Hellraiser is also like one of those very overrated cards, like Demon Form, because they sound pretty. They're fancy. They've got good animations. They're fun. They build you up in the perfect situations. But a lot of the times you die before you get those perfect situations because they're so hard to build up and to play. Hellraiser is not bad necessarily. Again, every card in Slay the Spire has a use case. It has some sort of use case. Like, none of these cards are particularly bad. We're just mostly ranking them because we want to discuss them all. Because it's really hard to say that any one card is really bad. Because even in the right situations, you can get Cinder, Howl from Beyond, even Rampage. Maybe not Rampage. Like Rampage is bottom of the bottom. But like these Hellraiser in the right situation is really good. But honestly, it is very, very overrated in my opinion. Impervious, a 2-cost, gain 30 block, exhaust. And if it's upgraded, gain 40 block. Easy A tier. Easy A tier. Again, top of A tier. Impervious, really, really good way for you to gain block. Block, so valuable in this game. It's super strong, especially if somehow, some way, you could put retain on it. It's amazing. Impervious is just absolutely broken in that situation. Probably teeters on S tier, but we're trying to, you know, keep it as as unbiased as possible, as like good as possible. I would take these cards over Impervious, so Impervious easily at the top of A tier. Juggernaut, this is one of my favorite cards. 2-cost power card. Whenever you gain block, deal 6 damage to a random enemy, and if it's upgraded, gain 8 damage to a random enemy. Juggernaut, so much fun. If you can get this card to work, it is absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, it's super, super fucking hard to get to work. Juggernaut is just, unfortunately, it's not amazing. It's just, it's great when it works, amazing when it works, and that's why it goes into C tier. But most of the time, Juggernaut is just, it's not really like a card you want to take unless you really have a boatload of block and you really know that that's the direction that you're going to go down. And otherwise, it's super, super hard. Hitting a random enemy, really tough. Really tough. If it did something like 3 damage to all enemies, probably pretty broken, which is why they won't do it. Juggernaut's super, super fun to make happen if you can make it happen. Mangle, the 3-cost attack card, deal 20 damage. Enemy loses 10 strength this turn. And if it's upgraded, deals 26 damage. Enemy loses 15 strength this turn. It's not amazing. I would, again, put this into C tier as well. Mangle is really cool in theory. Losing 10 strength or causing the enemies to lose 10 strength or lose 15 strength this turn. Amazing. It borders on B and C, but Mangle is very expensive. 3 costs is a lot. So that's why I want to put it into C tier. If it was a 2-cost card that dealt like 15 damage instead of 20, I think that would be really nice. I think this would be like a much better bludgeon in that case. But it being 3 costs, it makes it really hard to use. I don't know. Maybe it'd be broken at 2 costs. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comment section. Not yet a 2-cost skill card. Heal 10 HP exhaust. If it's upgraded, heal 13 HP. This is just great. Like, not yet is just A tier. I don't want to put it in A tier because it's kind of boring, but it's frankly too strong to not put in A tier. It's just that good. Healing on any character is going to be insane, but specifically on Ironclad, there's a lot of things that you're dealing damage to yourself. This works really well when you do self-damage, and then you can just heal yourself. Not yet is insanely, insanely strong. Speaking of self-damage, we got Offering. Lose 6 HP, gain 2 energy, draw 3 cards, exhaust, and if it's upgraded, you draw 5 cards. Offering, easiest S tier of my life. Probably the best Ironclad card, maybe. This is a card that you take in any deck at all. You do lose a lot of HP, but that HP is basically just negating what your Burning Blood is doing at the end of fights, and you're automatically gaining 2 energy, drawing 5 cards. It is insane to be able to just get energy, to be able to get cards, and to be able to play basically anything. And also working with the self-damage synergies. Offering is insanely broken. Like, just broken. 1-2 punch, a 1-cost skill. This turn, your next 2 attacks are played an extra time if it's upgraded. Sorry. If it's unupgraded, it's your next attack is played an extra time. Just kind of D tier. In the right situations is awesome, but most of the time you're not running into that right situation. Too many of Ironclad's attack cards cost too much. And then 1-2 punch is just like harder to make happen. It's good in theory. It's definitely good in the right situation for sure. But most of the time you're not running into that right situation. You're just not. I very, 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 very rarely take 1-2 punch. You got to have it on the same turn as some great card that you want to go off twice. And it's also got to be a card that's inexpensive. Like if you only have 3 energy and you want this to go with Mangle, you can't. You can't, unfortunately, in that situation. It's just really hard to make 1-2 punch really good. Pact's End, a 0-cost attack card. If you have 3 or more cards in your exhaust pile, deal 18 damage to all enemies. If it's upgraded, you deal 24 damage. Pact's End is really good. I think I would put this in bottom of A tier. It would teeter on top of B tier. It's situational because you want some sort of exhaust going on, but it's not hard to have exhaust in Ironclad. And it's also not hard to like have, again, things like Tremble that are just exhausting themselves. So Pact's End in that situation is really good. It's really nice AoE. It's free. You just have to have the 3 cards in your exhaust pile. If you're on the higher ascensions, you're already going to have 1. You can consider having 1 as Ascender's Bane because that exhausts itself and just goes away right there. All you need is 2 other exhaust cards that exhaust, and Pact's End is suddenly really good. Primal Force, a 0-cost skill card. Transform all cards in your hand into a giant rock, and if it's upgraded, it turns it into a giant rock plus. A giant rock is a 1-cost card that I believe deals 16 damage. Am I correct about that? You can correct me if I'm wrong. And if it's a giant rock plus, it deals 20 damage. Primal Force, awesome. Really, honestly, really good. I would put this into B tier. It's very, very good, especially if you have a lot of strikes. You want to turn those strikes into rocks that make them way stronger. If you have a lot of attacks in general, transforming those attacks into rocks, really, really good. And it's going to deal a lot of damage. I would say it's probably closer to the bottom of B tier. In terms of fun, it's definitely high up there. It really is super, super high up there. But in terms of actual practicality, it's B, you know. Pyre, a 2-cost power card. Gain 1 energy at the start of each turn. And if it's upgraded, you gain 2 energy at the start of each turn. Pyre is weird. You're basically spending 2 energy, and you're not getting those 2 energy back for 2 more turns. So you have to, it's almost like you're wasting 2 energy for like 3 turns kind of before it starts paying you. It's very, very good in the situations where you can afford to play this and you need energy. It's pretty good in those situations, but honestly, I don't think Pyre is that amazing. When I first started playing the game, I thought Pyre was going to be broken and insane. And the more I play it, the less I use it. It's just harder to get off. I would put this into D tier. Hard to make Pyre really, really work unless you already have a bunch of energy and a bunch of draw and you need more energy and you, in order to play all your draw, I guess in that situation. But most of the time, Pyre is kind of a wash. You know, it's kind of like Demon Form. It takes so long for Demon Form to get started and to sort of do its thing. Same thing with Pyre. If it's not upgraded, you play it on turn 1 for 2 energy. Then on turn 2, you gain only 1 of those energies back. And then on turn 3, you get the second energy back. And then it takes till turn 4 for it to start actually paying dividends. A little tough in those situations, especially if you don't draw it on turn 1. Stoke, a 1-cost skill card. Exhaust your hand. Add 1 random card into your hand for each card exhausted. And if it's upgraded, that means it's adding 1 random upgraded card into your hand for each card exhausted. Stoke, easy at A tier. Borders on S tier. Stoke is awesome. Stoke is incredible. You may sit there and think to yourself, hey, you said random things happening isn't good. Well, in the case of Stoke, it's awesome because you get to exhaust a handful of maybe garbage. Then you get to have that replaced with a hand full of possibilities. And you never know what that's going to be. And those cards end up being potentially awesome. And even if it isn't awesome, you're usually going to have things like Feel No Pain or Dark Embrace that are going to allow you to take advantage of exhausted cards. Stoke is really, really good. It might scare you because it's random, but if you've never used it, go ahead and use it, and you will be thanking me in the comment section because it's actually awesome. Terra Sunder, 2-cost attack card, deal 5 damage, hits an additional time for each time you lost HP this combat. And if it's upgraded, deal 7 damage. This is a very, very, very good card that I am going to go ahead and put into A tier. It is going to be there with Bully, Ashen Strike. This is the lose HP version of those cards. It is going to go absolutely ballistic. It deals more damage than those if you have a deck where you lose HP. This is perfect with Inferno. This is perfect with anything that self-damages. Terra Sunder goes crazy. It is a way for you to really carry damage if you have no other ways to deal damage. If you have a self-damaging deck, Tear Asunder goes absolutely ballistic. If I put Bully and Ashen Strike here, it belongs here too. Otherwise, maybe top of B tier would be fine if that's how you feel about it. But this is a great place for it next to Bully and Ashen Strike, because that's the same versions of the same cards. But for this one, it's when you lose HP in the combat. I'm actually going to move Tear Asunder down to B tier, because the reasoning that I'm going to move it down is because it costs 2. And even though it does deal more damage than Bully and Ashen Strike in those situations, it's also a rare card. So I do feel like it could deal more damage. So I'm down to move it down to B tier. Thrash, a 1-cost attack card. Deal 4 damage twice. Exhaust a random card, a random attack in your hand, and add its damage to this card. And if it's upgraded, it deals 6 damage twice. Thrash is very, very, very solid. It is a very, very good way for you to thin out your deck, as well as deal a decent amount of damage. The problem with Thrash is if your deck is not thin enough, you're not going to draw into it that often. That is my biggest problem with Thrash. Thrash is very good in the right situations. It could exhaust something that deals a lot of damage. But the problem is that you will not see the benefits of it doing that until you cycle through the deck again. So if you have like a crazy good exhaust deck, it's going to be really good. If you don't have, if like Thrash is your only form of exhaust, it's not that good. That is the problem with Thrash. It is hard for it to cycle through the deck and make things really good. It's solid though. I would solidly put this into B tier, but it would be closer to like the middle bottom of B tier as opposed to like A tier. I feel like it's a lot closer to to C tier than it is to A tier. Thrash is really, really good in those situations. I think they're just solid B tier cards. B tier being like, you need other things to really make these work. And if they work, they become super, super strong, but you need the right situations. If you have like a decent sized deck and you can't thrash away an attack and cycle through the deck as quickly as possible, it's not going to work. But if you can thrash away a big attack right away and then exhaust like a ton of cards from your deck using other methods and then continuously draw into Thrash, really, really good. But you have to have the right situations for that, which is where we've been putting all the cards in B tier is in those types of situations. That's why I feel like Tear Asunder has to get moved down and Thrash has to be over there. And then we have Unmovable, a 2-cost power card. The first time you gain block from a card each turn, double the amount gained. And if it's upgraded, it is a 1-cost card. Unmovable, easy S tier. It's not even close. To gain double the amount of block from one card is always going to be useful. Always going to be really good. And you're very happy with Unmovable all the time. And that is the end of the rare cards. And now we only have 2 other cards that we're going to rank. We have Break, which is one of the ancient rewards. It is a 1-cost attack card. It is the upgrade for Bash. It is deal 20 damage, apply 5 vulnerable. And the upgrade is deal 30 damage, apply 7 vulnerable. Break, honestly, it's just S tier. It's just simply S tier. Silly to think anything else. It is just an insanely strong card. To upgrade Bash and to turn it into a 1-cost card that deals, I don't know, how much more damage is it dealing than Thrash? I mean, than Bash if it's upgraded. It's dealing like, what, 4 times the amount of damage plus 7 vulnerable? Broken. Which is why it's an ancient reward and it's really hard to get. I don't even know if I should be ranking these on here, but I'll do it anyway. And then we got Corruption. Corruption is a 3-cost card, another ancient reward. Skills cost 0. Whenever you play a skill, exhaust it. And if it's upgraded, it's a 2 cost. Corruption's awesome. Corruption was an S tier card easily in Slay the Spire 1. Unfortunately, this is Slay the Spire 2. It's a lot harder to make happen. Depends. It depends on the situation. It's like very, very niche at this point because it's an ancient reward. And I think I got to drop it like into the top of C tier. There's a very good argument to be made for B tier. Actually, B tier is probably more appropriate because you need the right situation for it, but it's very, very hard. It's not super niche like the C tier cards, so I'm fine with it being in B tier. Amazing if you have the right situation. If you have things and you're trying to exhaust things and you have a lot of skills, Corruption's awesome. But if you don't, Corruption is unfortunately not that great. It's really hard to take this as the ancient reward unless you have the absolute best situation. But it's still amazing if you do have that situation. It was a clear S tier card on Slay the Spire 1. And on Slay the Spire 2, it is not as good. Not as good. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. I appreciate it. And what I want to do is just wrap things up a little bit because there are some cards that I wanted to change the positions of. You can get the updated tier list from the untapped link that I will leave in the description below. So I'm going to be periodically updating that, probably like every patch, and moving things up and down depending on how I feel. Once again, you can apply the actual tier list, my actual tier list, into your untapped tracker if you're using the untapped tracker. I will have a link to download the untapped tracker as well. That's free. So I did move around a couple things while I was editing. I wanted to just switch the positions of a few cards. I do not believe anything in S tier changed. There were a few changes to A tier. I moved Pact's End down to B tier. I wanted to do that. I felt like that was a more appropriate place for that. And I don't see any other changes that are sticking out in my mind. I might make a mistake, but again, you can go directly to the link of my tier list so that you can look over everything. But I just wanted to wrap it up with this. If you made it this far, also, please just subscribe. First of all, if you made it this far, thank you. And this was a long one. It took a lot of work, a lot of editing. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to actually like take a look at this tier list and everything. And it would mean a lot if you subscribed and liked the video. But back to the actual tier list things. Another thing there, we're going to talk about some changes to B tier. Rage, I originally had in C tier. I don't know what I was thinking. Rage is really good. Rage is extremely useful. I moved it up to B tier. Aggression, I also moved up to B tier because I do like it as a means to give yourself an extra card draw. I felt like it was a little more appropriate for the B tier to come to be moved up into there. And then Terra Sunder was already a B tier. And C tier, I made a few other changes. So Dismantle, Thrash, and Primal Force were all originally in B tier. I think it is a much more appropriate spot for them to be in C tier. Thrash, I already went over the reasons why. I just wasn't being as harsh on them, and I probably should have been. Dismantle is really good, but it's not great. It's decent for early game damage, and dealing 16 for 1 energy is really good if you're doing vulnerable stuff. If you're not, or if you have like a very limited amount of vulnerable, Dismantle becomes really kind of bad in the late game. And then Thrash, I went over all the reasons why this should be a C tier card, and then I put it in B tier, and I just sort of regret that. I think that Thrash is really not as good as it sounds. You'd rather have Ashen Strike in that situation. And Primal Force I moved down because frankly, it's better in the early game, but it's not really super, super good late. It's not bad late. It's not bad. That's a lot of damage, so you don't mind it. I just think that I was leaning a little too into the fun factor for why I put it in B tier, because I really do love using it and I do think it's great. But yeah, it's not really that amazing. Hellraiser, I moved into D tier. I believe I had that in C tier. Hellraiser's not that good. Hellraiser is, truthfully, it's just not great. I don't know why I put it in C tier in the first place. Hellraiser, cool if you have 2 Pommel Strikes and like nothing else in your deck that's going to keep playing those Pommel Strikes over and over and over and over again. That's where Hellraiser is good. Outside of that, Hellraiser kind of just, it's okay that it plays your strikes for you, but it's just not that great. Molten Fist, I also moved down to D tier. Molten Fist, doubling the enemy's vulnerable. That's more niche than C tier. You know, there's one card that works with. It's Dominate. And you also have to have the right situation. If you draw this on turn 1, useless. So I moved Molten Fist down. And then I also moved Pyre to F tier. I took Pyre and I put it in F tier because the more I listened to me talking about it and the more I thought about it, Pyre just wasn't, that wasn't it. There's a lot of ways to gain energy with Ironclad, especially now with Forbidden Ritual being much, much better. And you don't have to exhaust cards in order to get it there. You can just play it for 1. It's just better than Pyre, man. It's just way better. Bloodletting is way better. This is a bad way to gain energy. It takes too long to really work out, and it's just not worth it. So that's the improved tier list. That is the updated and improved tier list. Again, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Catch me live on YouTube and Twitch Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, around 9 p.m. Eastern time is when I start. And I'm there every single week. So appreciate you again. Catch you on the next video.